Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Scribe Plays Vampire the Masquerade, Coteries of New York. Previously, we were given advice by our patron on which other kindred to approach to make part of our coterie. We had a Nosferatu, a Tremere, a Malkavian, and I think it was a Ventru? I forget. Either way, we'll find out presently. I'm curious to find out if we can approach all of them, or if we are limited only to one or two selections. As they drive away, you find yourself with more freedom than you've had for the past few nights. A blessing or a burden, time will tell. Yeah, hopefully this means the game is now opened up to where I can actually make some meaningful decisions for myself. With a list of addresses in hand, you consider your next move. All right, here we go. Finally, the map. So, okay. Who do I choose? Which one's the Nosferatu? Am I going to get a profile of who it is I'm looking at? Ah. Sophie's mention of a vampire clan of blood sorcerers sparked your attention. One of them, Agathon, could potentially be your introduction into the bizarre powers of the Tremere. Sophie suggested you meet Hope, a reclusive member of the Malkavian clan. She's supposedly holed up in an internet cafe in Lower Manhattan. A recent string of violent killings has the Red Hook district of Brooklyn on edge. Sophie mentioned that Kadir El-Asmeh has a secret associate investigating the murders, a Nosferatu neonate by the name of D'Angelo. If you help him out, he might be persuaded to form a lasting partnership. He's looking attractive, so to speak. And lastly, Sophie mentioned a gangrel, that's what it was, neonate by the name of Tamika, who's made herself a haven in Prospect Park. The Ferals aren't exactly a social bunch, even by kindred standards, but if you can keep her from clawing your eyes out just long enough, she might be persuaded to join you. Okay, well, going on the basis of what Sophie has told my character, the most advantageous additions to my coterie seem to me, at least first, to be the Nosferatu, because if I get in good with him, then conceivably I'm also in good with the sheriff, which doesn't hurt. And then as going for the gangrel, because if I can be seen as some kind of diplomat or, you know, bridge crosser between clans, I have more utility. And I also have some outside contacts beyond the Camarilla. So I'm going to start off with Mr. Nosferatu. How exactly do I do that? Do I click this? Doesn't tell me, so. As you make your way down Clinton Street, the incessant hum of traffic gives way to the ominous silence of the waterfront. You stop to take in the familiar bouquet of the Hudson, made all the more potent by your recent sharpened senses. Across the basin, the Red Hook grain terminal rears its rusty frame. Once a bustling industrial area, now a sleeping giant splayed out on the riverbank, forgotten, abandoned. Conveniently so, especially for one of the hidden. Oh, is that what the Nosferatu are called now? Okay. Keeping to the shadows, you sneak closer to the dilapidated complex, making your way past hole-ridden silos and wobbly chain-link fences. By the time you reach the entrance to the main building, you can almost feel the rust particles making themselves cozy at the back of your throat. Not getting your hopes up, you give the door a slight nudge. To your surprise, it gives almost instantly. Looks like someone's been using it recently. Once inside, you find yourself in a large, empty hall. Looking around you, you can almost picture it back in its heyday, stacked to the rafters with heavy machinery. You notice a set of stairs leading up to a mezzanine, most likely an office space, and then you see it. A faint light coming from one of the upper rooms. Looks like you're in luck. Quietly, with bated breath, you climb the steps and approach the dimly lit room. The door creaks open, revealing what looks like an old-timey detective's office, complete with crooked window blinds, an overflowing ashtray, and paper scattered across a wooden desk. Suddenly it hits you, that nagging feeling. This is all too convenient, too inviting. Before you can react, the trap is already sprung. A plume of cigar smoke wafts over your shoulder. The barrel of a gun rubs against your spine. A raspy voice whispers in your ear.
Let me guess. Took a wrong turn at the third silo.
Talk him down, rush him, or presence. Well, I'm here to make a friend. I'm not here necessarily... do they make me spend blood for presence? Because presence wasn't usually a power that cost blood, but... I'm going to try to talk him down before I start using disciplines. You decide to play along, raising your arms slowly. You weigh your next words carefully. You're pretty sure a bullet to the back wouldn't kill you, but it doesn't sound too pleasant either. I'll try to be humorous. You mean this isn't Bloodsuckers Anonymous? As my phone beeps at me from off in the distance. Apologies for that. Hazards of live TV. A noise rattles behind your head like someone shook a can full of gravel. It might have been a chuckle, but your guess is as good as anyone's.
Wise guy, huh? Luckily for you, I have a soft spot for wise guys. So I'll give you a chance to explain yourself.
In a strange interplay of light and shadow, the stranger reappears behind his desk. Seeing him in his full, for lack of a better word, glory, you can't help but smirk. This is the dreaded Nosferatu? The way Sophie described them, you were expecting some grotesque monstrosity. But this guy, the clothes, the swagger, the hard-boiled detective routine, it all comes across as a bad joke. Still, when it comes to appearance, his lineage is undeniable. From 30 feet away, he could probably pass for a bum with a nasty skin condition. From 5 feet away, he looks like something made to be seen from 30 feet away. Womp womp. He leans back in his chair, casually pointing his gun at you.
So, what brings you to my humble office?
Let's see. Are you D'Angelo? Yeah, I suppose so. You the one they call D'Angelo?
That's my name, kid. Don't wear it out. My friends call me Jin, so you best stick to D'Angelo for the time being. Now I suggest you tell me what this is about. Otherwise, I kindly ask you to get the fuck out of my office.
I can see why Kadir keeps you. Charming. I can see why Kadir keeps you around. His expression sours.
Not a name you want to casually toss around, kid. But hey, I get it. You're not some random schmuck who wandered in here off the street. So let's get down to the nitty-gritty. Who I work for is less important. What I'm working on, however...
I know. I'm here to help. The Red Hook murders. I know. I want to help you catch the killer. His moldy lips twist into a smile.
Do you now?
D'Angelo lowers his shades. For a few seconds, he sits motionless with his eyes fixed on yours. Suddenly, he raises his gun, almost making you flinch. Almost. Then he twirls it into his shoulder holster in a flashy display that definitely looks like it was practiced. A lot. In front of a mirror. You see the Nosferatu's lips move, but the quiet mumbling clearly isn't meant for your ears. Listening in, you're able to catch snippets of his monologue.
Sure, they seem to care. What was the end game? What was their angle? Everybody's got one, even if they pretend like they don't. Especially then. What the hell? Maybe this town finally got to me.
Oh, he's narrating his own adventure story. Okay. He pauses, sticks a fresh cigar between his crooked teeth.
Maybe a good leap of faith is just what the doctor ordered.
Yeah, offer him a light. Play along. As he reaches into his pocket, you flash a lit lighter before his eyes. Or maybe you could use a healthy dose of unhealthy. For a split second, he gives you a puzzled look, then he leans over to your lighter, puffing on the cig as it catches fire. A wry smile comes back to his lips.
I like you, kid. You might look like a used car salesman, but there's just something about you.
Now see, in the olden days, if you held a flame before a vampire's face, even if it was something as small as a lighter, they'd have to make a Rorschach check, or a fear of fire check. But I'm assuming that's not the case here. Or if it happened, it was quote-unquote behind the scenes.
Tell you what, I was just about to head back to the crime scene, take a look around, refresh my notes. You can tag along if you want to. I could use an assistant, someone to take notes and make wild assumptions for me to shoot down. Who knows, if you're any good, I might consider making this a long-term arrangement.
What are we waiting for?
Just one more thing. You still got me at a disadvantage here. Seems like you've done some digging on me, but with you, I've barely scratched the surface. You catch my drift? So answer me this. Who was it that sent you into my neck of the woods? Or in layman's terms, who do you work for?
You haven't even asked my name yet. Nah, I'll be up front with him. Sophie Langley. For the first time since you got here, the Nosferatu adopts a look of genuine surprise. His eyes wander for a moment, finally giving way to a crooked smile.
So you're the one, huh? The fledgling the Toreador dame spared. Yeah, that would make sense. Don't think she'd appreciate you throwing her name around. Thanks for being up front, kid.
One blink is enough for you to miss D'Angelo vanishing from his chair. Just when you're about to look around, he reappears right next to you. Up close, his smile is even more unnerving. So he's got, granted they haven't changed the power structure in the game, he's got Obfuscate 4? That's pretty good.
All right, moonlight's burning. Let's get cracking.
With a certain fascination, you watch D'Angelo stumble his way across West Brooklyn. Oddly animated, incessantly scratching his face and neck, stopping every once in a while for a bout of mumbling narration, he is most certainly a sight to behold. Still, he seems to be getting around okay, and you take particular note of the fact that he seems to be choosing the darker, less frequented streets. There is definitely a method to his madness. Eventually, your leprous guide takes a sudden turn off Van Brunt Street and into a particularly dingy alleyway. The torn pieces of yellow police tape are a dead giveaway. This has to be the place.
Well, here we are. Time for you to earn your stripes. This is where they found him, drained dry, not a drop of blood in him. And before you ask, no, I didn't get to see the body, so I don't know if there were any bite marks. So, what can you tell me?
You take a moment to examine the crime scene. Judging by the chalk outline on the pavement, the man was killed recently. Curiously, there doesn't appear to be a trace of blood or viscera, and you know the city's cleanup crew isn't that fast or that thorough. Looking up, you notice a spray-painted sign on the wall. It reads, "The Blood Speaks," in big, crooked letters. You look to D'Angelo. The Nosferatu gives you an expecting look. Let's see. How come there's no blood? The graffiti looks like a clue. You're the detective, you tell me. Now I gotta make myself useful. So, the graffiti looks like a clue. You point at the spray-painted sign. That looks like a clue.
Sure, kid. Might as well start with the elephant in the room. What do you think it means?
You give the sign a good hard look. It's no Rembrandt. The writing is jagged, clearly done in a hurry. It's meant to throw us off. Nothing. It's meant to throw us off.
Nah, I can see why you'd think that. But look at how crooked the letters are. Barely legible. You can't fake something like that. Someone was very nervous, very scared. It definitely meant something to them.
Oh, I chose poorly.
And then there's the blood, or lack thereof. And given that the murder was committed right here and the victim didn't make a sound, we can therefore conclude that...
The killer is Kindred. The killer was Kindred.
Bingo. Only a Kindred could drain a human this quickly, this quietly.
Not necessarily, but yeah.
Tell me, if you were to guess, which clan would you say our killer belongs to?
Well, what my character knows about them so far. The Tremere Blood Magicians, the Blood Speaks. But someone was doing it nervously and they wanted to leave a message. I'll say Thin Bloods. Do I even know about Thin Bloods yet? I can't remember if that was ever mentioned, but I'm going to say Malkavians. Maybe it's a Malkavian serial killer. They're pretty nuts, right?
Nah, kid, the Moonies can be a bit playful, but there's a method to their madness. It leaves a certain aftertaste. This right here, it just reeks of desperation. I might be jumping to conclusions, but my money's on the Thin Bloods.
He pauses, spits out the mangled remains of a cigar.
Shit, looks like we're gonna have to pay Larson a visit.
The Thin Blood... How do I know that? Okay, either I have forgotten something primary here, or Did I ever... I can't recall if my character ever heard the phrase thin blood or had it explained to him. So I'll just guess the thin blood primogen. Larson, the thin blood primogen?
No, Larson the bicycle repairman. Of course the thin blood fucking primogen.
I feel like the game has made assumptions on my behalf that I never encountered, but anyway.
Not sure if he knows who the killer is, but he could probably make an educated guess. In any case, we'd be doing him a favor. If it turns out one of his is violating the Masquerade, it would put him in a hell of an awkward position. And I mean shitting upside down awkward. It's the kind of weakness the other primogen would love to exploit. His position in the council is bad as it is.
A thin blood primogen, that's a new one. He pauses for a moment and mumbles to himself, but it's too quiet for you to make out. Finally, he lights up a fresh cigar. He takes a puff and lets the smoke escape through his crooked smile.
All right, kid, let's get this over with.
Compared to the industrial ugliness of Red Hook, Sterling Place is quite a change of scenery. The heavily gentrified and pleasantly dull residential area emanates the sort of peaceful apathy the rich hipsters scoff at and blue-collar workers dream of. All of a sudden, the Nosferatu stops. It almost seems like he was taking a deep breath, steeling himself for things to come.
This is the place.
With that, he points to a surprisingly nice-looking two-story house. The place is almost completely dark. Almost. You notice a dim light shining through the curtains of an upper-story window. It's probably safe to assume that the head of the family is working late, especially if the head of the family happens to be a vampire. Oh boy.
Okay, kid, we gotta be gentle about this. I'm taking velvet gloves, soft cushions. You rang, my lord, gentle.
Okay.
We need to get Larson out of here without making a fuss or letting his family see us. If we blow this, he'll shut down like a speakeasy on raid night. Trust me, I know.
His family? Okay. Sounds like you two have some history.
Sounds about right, but that's a story for another time. Right now, let's stick to why we're here. Tell you what, how about you take lead on this one? I'm curious to see how you handle it.
You take a step back and look around the area. The lit-up window seems like a safe bet. Now it's just a matter of getting Larson's attention. His, and no one else's. As you're trying to come up with a viable strategy, you are suddenly startled by a loud noise. It takes you a second to identify the sound as a dog's barking. It doesn't take you long to figure out where it has come from, as a bearded man leading a Rottweiler on a leash comes into view. Feeding opportunity? No. Yeah, I'm going to just play it straight. Ring the doorbell. Seeing no point in beating around the bush, you walk up right behind the door. Let me try that again. You walk right up to the door and ring the bell. D'Angelo wobbles up behind you in a comical attempt to remain stealthy.
What the hell, kid? I mean, there's taking a direct approach, and then there's being a complete fucking idiot.
Before you're able to explain yourself, you hear footsteps from inside the house. It sounds like someone is coming down the steps towards the front door. D'Angelo bites his lip and lets out a noise that sounds like a cricket dying of throat cancer. You're guessing it was supposed to be an annoyed grunt. The door swings open, and a very unassuming and slightly unshaven man in a turtleneck stands before you. You begin to wonder how a guy like that made it into the council this long. Made it on the council this long. Even for a thin blood, he looks extremely unimpressive. Again, was I ever educated as to what a thin blood was? At all? The man gives you a puzzled look, then looks to D'Angelo. His face twists into a disgusted frown, like he just smelled a particularly nasty fart. What the fuck, D'Angelo?
I know, I can explain.
Explain my ass. This is my home. Do you understand? Home, where my children sleep? As if on cue, a child's voice can be heard coming from upstairs. Dad? It's okay, Bobby. Daddy's helping someone. You get back to bed now. I'll be right over to tuck you in. Once more, the house grows silent. Larson lets out a sigh and turns back towards you. He is not a happy camper. Get the hell out of my house. You glance over to D'Angelo. He looks somewhat embarrassed, scratching the back of his neck, clearly trying to find the right angle to play this. Give us 5 minutes. Look, we didn't mean to intrude. All we need is 5 minutes of your time, then we're gone. Larson gives you a tired, frustrated look. He takes a deep breath. Not here. With that, he locks the front door and leads you several steps away from the porch. What do you want?
It's about the Red Hook murders. We think one of yours is responsible.
Bullshit. A Duskborn's got enough trouble just staying alive out here. What could possibly make them openly violate the Masquerade?
Desperation. The killer's been leaving messages. Whoever they are, I think they know something. Something they can't share with just anyone. I know it seems far-fetched, but it's the only way this puzzle fits together.
Nah, I don't buy it. You're reaching, trying to find a scapegoat. Getting your boss's good graces. Word gets out, D'Angelo. You think I don't know who you're working for? Then help us clear your name. Then help us clear your people's name. What have you got to lose? Everything. I've been a thorn in the council's side for a while now. This is just the excuse they need to get rid of me.
What if it turns out that one of yours did it, and you sat on your hands to protect him? You think the council won't jump on that?
He looks off into the darkness, pondering his options. He lets out a heavy sigh. Look, I'll ask around, consult my sources. If it turns out one of my own is responsible, they will face justice. In the meantime, keep your deductions to yourself. I have enough trouble as it is.
Deal.
Good. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to get back to my family. And with that, Larson retreats to the elusive safety of his home. You decide it's best to move along. You walk a couple blocks in utter silence. Even D'Angelo's mumbling seems to have taken a back seat. Oddly enough, you find his newfound reticence somewhat unnerving. Finally, the Nosferatu stops and turns towards you.
Hell of a night. I don't know about you, kid, but I sure could use a drink. Something warm in a tall, sweaty glass. But first, let me tally your score. Let's see now.
Oh, tally my score? Okay.
You did make a good first impression. I like someone who can talk themselves out of a tight spot. Talking's cheap. Bullets, not so much. You held your own at the crime scene. Nothing I hadn't figured out on my own, but hey, we can't all be professionals. Finally, when the situation called for subtlety, you managed to avoid unwanted attention. Discretion is what separates a private dick from just any old dick. All in all, you did fine. Not fine, but not bad for your first case. Don't let it get to your head. I'll be in touch. Let you know if I hear from Larson. Be ready to meet me at the office.
He starts to walk away, but suddenly stops and turns back towards you.
And bring a notepad. Every good assistant should have one.
Okay, well, as far as I could tell, I'm not short on blood. Of course, I don't know how much blood I have in my system. And we're getting... Is this... I can't tell what time of day that is. Does that mean the sun's about to come up? I think it means the sun's about to come up, so I'm going to rest. You notice something strange by the front door of your haven. A letter's been slipped under the door in a cream-colored, old-fashioned envelope. There's no name on it, but you know it's meant for you. Opening the letter, it's clear it's been sent by someone incredibly old-fashioned, rich, or a fan of classic stationery. No normal person sends letters like this. The note is short and terse, written in elegant, delicate handwriting. You are cordially invited to a rendezvous at the Cathedral of St. John the Divine. I'll be waiting to make your acquaintance tomorrow night. Look for me closer to God. There is no other information. It looks like you have a mysterious invitation for the following night. Okay, yeah, so the moon... Okay, if this was a sun, it'd be easier to tell, but it's kind of a... Anyway. Who do we go to next? Were we supposed to show up at his place the next night? I suddenly forget. Let's see. No. Oh, I can't go back any further than that? Great. Okay. And this is just the dictionary. Right. Okay. Let me check. No, I need to go check on... I need to go touch base with somebody else. Okay, so we were going to try the gangrel next, I think. Who's that? Oh, right. Okay, that's a side quest kind of thing. Okay, we're going to touch base with the gangrel then. I guess. Okay. You make your way through the Grand Army Plaza, passing the Soldiers and Sailors Memorial Arch. You can't help but feel a tinge of nostalgia as you picture the place as you've seen it countless times, in broad daylight, teeming with life. You quickly get over it and pass through the northwest gate into Prospect Park. The park is the usual maze of unkempt foliage and dimly lit alleys. Silence hangs in the air, as it would at this time of night, and there doesn't appear to be any sign of kindred presence. You start to suspect Langley's sources fed her a bunch of bullshit, but you're not willing to give up just yet. You take a deep breath. Your nostrils fill with the scent of dead leaves and something else. A faint whiff of copper, too subtle for a human to notice, but your newfound kindred intuition tells you that you're in the right spot. Yeah, these are Tamika's hunting grounds, all right. It's more than a hunch. You can feel it in your veins. Now it's just a matter of finding her. Unless, of course, she finds you first. As you ponder your options, you hear footsteps coming from behind a line of trees. Quick, but evenly paced. Most likely a late-night jogger. No vampire would take kindly to your feeding in their domain, but then again, perhaps you could kill two birds with one stone. I don't need the blood. Yeah, as far as I can tell, looking around the edges of the screen, I am not thirsty for blood. And I already know what happens if I start feeding on someone else's territory, so I'm just going to seek out the Gangrel Haven. Or do I use Auspex to focus my senses to locate her? Does Auspex use blood in this game? I'm assuming it does. I'll see what happens if I just walk around and find him. You head south, delving deeper into the less frequented section of the park. Passing a babbling stream, you make your way into the ravine. Home to some of the oldest trees in the park, it's the place to go when you want to get away from the crowd and enjoy some one-on-one time with nature. And that's during the day. At night, it's bound to be a gangrel's delight. The game is assuming a whole lot of knowledge about my character that he would not possess otherwise, but okay. Making your way through the brush, you come across a rocky crevice hidden behind a wobbly chain-link fence. You leap over the fence in a single bound, trying to land as quietly as kindredly possible. The crevice looks deep enough for you to think twice about jumping in. Instead, you peer into the darkness below, listening intently. In a split second, the air by the side of your head swirls like a vortex. Driven by sheer instinct, you lean back just as 5-finger-shaped razors cut through the darkness, missing your face by an inch. A clawed shadow jumps back a few paces, preparing to correct its mistake. You catch a glimpse of the assailant. Looks pretty animalistic, all right, but he's not the one you're looking for. For starters, it's a he. That assumes their gender. Just as he's about to lunge at you, a snarl resounds from the bushes nearby, stopping your foe in their tracks. Out of the shadows emerges a young woman, baring her teeth ever so slightly. She walks over, calmly, her eyes fixed on your assailant. Her presence is enough to make him reconsider attacking you, but not to withdraw completely. He glances over to her, puffing up his chest. "Stay out of it, Tam. I smelled him first." Tam, how about that? She raises an eyebrow, but remains silent. Her compatriot turns back towards you. "You shouldn't have come here, pretty boy. I'm gonna fuck you up so bad you'll be wearing your tongue as a fucking necktie." Tamika looks at you, expectantly. No, I'm not gonna provoke him. Easy there, big shot. You've made your point, okay? Confirmed badass. I'm not looking for a fight. Tamika tilts her head in a way that's barely noticeable, and yet strangely expressive. She seems disappointed. And there should be a space there between your period and your S, but anyway. The man loosens up, his lips twitching into a wry smile. Clearly, you just gave him the confidence boost he needed. "Figures. You got that look about you. All style, no substance. Didn't even have to smell you. I know a sissy when I see one." "Well, guess what? You ain't getting off that easy, chicken shit." He's not? A fierce growl echoes across the alley, stopping the savage in his tracks. Tamika walks over to her comrade, her fangs glistening in the dim lamplight. She puts her hand on the side of his head, caressing his hair and tugging at his ear as if she were scolding a puppy. She leans over and speaks in a voice that's firm, yet oddly affectionate. "It's okay, Raoul. I'll handle it from here." The male gangrel looks at her with a mix of timidity and resentment. Then he turns back towards you. "Fine. They're not worth the effort anyway." Having said his piece, Raoul retreats into the shadows, although if you were to guess, he's likely to stay within earshot. With her companion gone, Tamika turns to you once more. "What do you want?" Let's see. I could use your help. Straight to the point. I like that. I'll just be straightforward. Short story, I'm new here, and I'm looking for a chance to leave my mark. Maybe shake things up a bit in the process. I could use your help. Why me? My sources claim you're capable, or why not? I don't feel like my guy has any reason to lie at this point. At least not in ways that are going to put him into that don't put him into danger. Letting people know that he's connected or on behalf of others isn't a bad thing. They're going to figure it out anyway. My sources claim you're capable. Are they wrong? No, I guess not. But if you're so well informed, you should know that I don't whore myself out for mercenary work. I'm not hiring. I'm not hiring you. I'm offering you my help should you ever need it, and in time, perhaps also my friendship. Oh. Do I strike you as someone who needs a friend? Your sire abandoned you. Oh, do I want to get personal? Oh. You're looking for a way out. Yeah. You strike me as someone looking for a way out of this park, for starters. Is that why you're here? To break me out? Are you my ticket out of here? You can leave with or without me. Look, I'm not stupid. I know you can leave any time, with or without me. I'm just asking for a couple nights of your time. So what's it going to be? For a brief moment, she stands there motionless, looking straight into your eyes as if trying to size you up. Finally, she looks away. It looks like she's come to a decision. Just so that we're clear, I don't trust you. I have no reason to. Frankly, you sound more lost than I am. And you haven't even asked for his name yet, just like D'Angelo didn't ask for his name yet, so I'm assuming that's taking place off camera somehow. Still, there's something about you. Most kindred who are this pretty tend to... Try that again. Most kindred who are this pretty tend to hide rot underneath, but I don't smell it on you. So I'll give you a chance to prove yourself. I have some outstanding business to take care of. I'll let you know once that's done. Meet me here, and we'll see what you're really made of. And with that, Tamika disappears into the night. That went pretty well, all things considered. All right, so it's midnight. I could visit one more person. I will have to think on that, and while I think on that, I will call this episode to a close. Thank you, everyone, for watching. If you appreciate this kind of thing, please put a comment in the comments below and leave a like. If you have any suggestions as to what my next move should be, or any suggestions as to what kind of strategy I should take going forward, by all means, leave them in the comments as well. Can't promise I'll follow them necessarily, but I will take them into consideration as we proceed. But with that, everyone, as always, thank you for watching.